Hello and welcome to Wayne's E-Tron Adventure. Today I'm going to talk about my journey to the Audi E-Tron. Take a moment and hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. Tesla is a well-known manufacturer of EV in the US, but as a car fanatic, I'm always watching videos and reading information about new vehicles all the time. So I'm well aware of all the new EVs in China and the UK and Europe and Korea as well, because they do produce some of those vehicles. While here in the US we don't have too many, the rest of the world is actually moving on with their EV initiatives. I decided I wanted to get a Tesla, but after test driving it, it didn't quite work for me. 3 hybrids later, I decided to go in for the Stinger. When it came out, it was a beautiful car. I had to go drive it, and I did, and I was hooked from the first drive. My choice at the time was the Audi A5 Sportback, because I remember when it came out in Europe before it came here, and I said, man, these guys need to really bring this car to the US. I think it would do well here. I just drove both cars, and it was A5 against the Kia 2.0T. For the price of the A5, it was still more costly than the V6 version of the Stinger. And I drove the V6, and wow. That's that. If any of you out there own a Stinger, you know what I'm talking about. That V6 will get you. You test drive it, you're gonna want to buy it. A 4-cylinder engine is easy to toss around. I shouldn't say easier, it's lighter, so make the car more tossable in corners and so on. But the V6, oh my God. 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. Some people said I've got down to like 4.3. I mean, the car is like amazing. It's quick. It's quiet, it's comfortable. I wrecked the first one and I got a second one. Like a month later, I shopped around, I was gonna go Genesis, but the Stinger just did it for me. So let's talk about the Audi E-Tron. After moving from Virginia out to Arizona, my commute was shorter and I decided it was time to pick up a plug-in hybrid vehicle. So I spent time going through dealerships, looking at cars to see who had what, to test drive them to see which one I wanted to get. The Audi E-Tron had a deal that got my attention. The plan was to give up the Optima and keep the Stinger. But after we were there, checking it out, the amount of money that they were giving us for the Stinger was better than the Optima. So this Stinger had to go. Yeah, I miss my Stinger. Now in saying that, not that I don't like the Audi, but there's little things that it didn't have. I got the Premium Plus version. Don't have my head-up display. Yeah, missed that. 0 to 60 is about 5.5 seconds, I believe, and that's with the boost mode on. So it's a heavy beast. I mean, the Stinger was heavy, but this thing is like almost 6,000 pounds. Didn't have sports seats, didn't have a leg extension, you know. And as far as storage, there's a little, cubby area inside for your cups. There isn't much storage. The doors are pretty deep. They have a good amount of, storage inside of them. But in the center console, nope. They did have one interesting thing though. There's this like storage area like on the bottom of the dash, like below the steering wheel. It's like deep. You can put your hand all the way in there. You can put some stuff in there, but that's about it. The rare situation is, kind of the same. The trunk space is decent. Probably on par with this thing, I would say. You can drop the seats and get a little bit more room. It's a hatch. It has more of a wagon look, and that's what I like about that thing, because I personally like wagons. Audi E-Tron EV it was, and I love that car. It drives great. It's comfortable. Is it without problems? No, it's an Audi. Has it been a lot? Not really, but the one that it had knocked the car down for almost a month, 29 days. We can call it a month. There was a issue with the cooling system. Started with the car wouldn't charge at fast charging stations. Brought it home, plugged it in, would charge. Took it into the dealership. They saw some error codes. They reset it, sent me on my way. Drove again for about a week, then it wouldn't charge at home. Now that's odd. It can charge at DC fast charge stations, but it won't charge at home. It's now the total opposite of what was happening. I took it back to them, and this time after a week of messing around with it and trying different things with Audi and so on, because at first I thought it was my charging cable, which I know it wasn't. They called me back and said, yep, there's a leak in the cooling system. Well, not a leak. One of the valves is not working the way it's supposed to work, and I have to get it from Germany. A month, it's a while. At that point, I started to get a little, should I get rid of it? You know, am I going to be too upside down? We into these things in your mind. Because some years ago, I had an A4. And I remember I drove that car home, put it in the garage, came back out to go to the grocery store, dead. Computer went bad. So I pretty much saw off Audi, and that was a 2000 Audi. So back in 2000, so that's almost 20 years. 20 years later, we're looking at another Audi and more electrical issues. There were also times when you'd be driving along and ding, 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 cruise control not working, traffic sign stuff is not working, was it adaptive cruise control is not working, radar sensors out. What the hell? You stop the car, you turn it off, you turn it back on, everything is fine. I've been used to that with the BMWs and, you know, my first Audi. Computers on wheels. What do? Just like your PC. Have a problem? Reset it, good to go. So yeah, the e-tron had its niggles, but for the most part, it's been a great car. The instant torque in 5.5 seconds is still pretty quick when you're talking about instant torque off the line. I'll get the torque numbers and put them up on the screen. Well, power and torque numbers, but it's a pretty quick vehicle for, you know, the size and the weight of it. I love it. It's a car that we take on road trips. We take it to California, Flagstaff. You know, the only issue that you have to, you know, really plan about these things is the charging, because it's not like gas stations. There are not a lot of them around. Now granted, you don't need to charge this thing up every night. It's what, 222 miles the range of the vehicle. With my driving, it's really 184, but that's not telling no one. I pretty much ran the battery out of juice. Had 4 miles of range left. I ignored the system telling me I needed to charge. Figured I could make it based on what I saw on the range and, you know, where it was. Didn't factor in how fast you were driving, the mountain we were going up. So yeah, I had to get towed to a charge point. So that was my first experience, and only experience, running the battery down to that level. It took 45 minutes to go from practically, let's say 0%, because it didn't say 1, like 0% to 99, which is 100. Most of these things seem to kick off at the 99%. They don't seem to kick off at 100. I'll do another video to talk about battery and battery size and charging and so on and so forth. But for the most part, an extra 15 minutes to charge it up, I don't think that's bad. So 45 minutes, and you know, say it's not bad coming from a gas vehicle. Yes, that's way longer. But for most of my use, daily use, I charge it maybe once a week, twice a week if I need to. Charging at home, plug it in, leave it, you set up the charging system, and it takes care of it while you're asleep. The rates right now, and I think this will probably change later on once, you know, a lot of people are off fossil fuel. It's like 6 cents a minute from 11 p.m. Let's call it 7 cents, 6 point something. So let's call it 7 cents per kilowatt hour. I shouldn't say per minute, per kilowatt hour to charge the vehicle. And that's between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. here. Most places have some kind of EV special rate for, like, you know, the nighttime when you want to charge. If you have an apartment, maybe it's not the best thing right now if you don't have a charging station there. But I've seen some ingenious people with EVs that have actually run an extension cable from their house out to the street to charge their car. That tells you yours really wanted to get into the EV spectrum to do that. We know that in the UK and Europe, they have different charge points all across the place for them. There's things like on the street. I remember saying something, they put it on like a light pole, and you come with your phone, Bluetooth connect to it, and it drops the cable down. You plug into your vehicle. There are multiple ways that we can get our vehicles charged, but here in the US, we don't have all those things just yet. This is something that they really need to work on. Did I make a good choice? I think I did. My wife enjoys the vehicle. I enjoy the vehicle. The savings for charging it versus fueling it, especially now that gas prices have gone up. You know, this thing uses premium fuel, and those things can get pricey in the summertime. So, yeah. I think the biggest concern for most people is, you know, what are the repairs and so on in the vehicle, maintenance. When I checked the package, when I was doing a deal and they wanted to sell me into a maintenance package, the booklet says checks, mainly checks. There is no transmission fluid to change or anything of that sort. However, much like your gas-powered vehicle, your brakes, every 2 years you got to change the fluids. Brake pads, probably not, because the regeneration takes care of most of that. The vehicle, I know, has been programmed to, when it gets down to about 5 miles per hour, it disengages the regeneration and you go to the service brake. So you figure as much as you're driving, you're really utilizing the brakes in that vehicle. So much so that the Q4 that's coming out is going to have drum brakes. I don't know if they'll do that in the US, they probably will, but I know in Europe and the UK, drum brakes in the rear is what it comes with. So to wrap this up, main reasons why the Stinger owner went to an EV is pretty much because of the price of the vehicle and the fact that overall cost of ownership is going to be lower. It's a quieter car, it's a more comfortable car, it's a powerful car. Not as fast as the Stinger, but you know, who's driving that, who's doing 0 to 60 every day they get out? You're not. You want something that's comfortable that can get you down the road and get you to work. And this car does it. So I'm going to do some more videos on the e-tron to talk more about that. But I wanted to get this one out there to start it off. Used to drive a Stinger, loved my Stinger, traded my baby for an electric vehicle. So now we're going to do some more videos to talk about my electric journey and how that's going with the new Audi e-tron. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more EV and e-tron related content. Thank you and see you next time.